What's good? What's poppin'? Welcome to the Stay Zealous podcast, or Stay Zealous with your host, Cam Jones, the one and only. You can't clone me. And I want to say welcome to every single one of y'all that's joining, because when I tell y'all, this has been a journey. Not just starting to do this, that's a whole thing with itself that I will explain, but trying to get this episode recorded has been such a whirlwind of events. I've tried to record. We've had technological issues. We've had sickness. We've had literally everything possible that could literally happen that we don't expect to happen when it comes to recording this episode. And I've attempted and I've tried to do this, and I'm just so thankful that we finally get to do it. We figured everything out. We prayed. We made sure we're good. And I believe this is going to be so great. Because why the heck would there be so much opposition unless this is going to be that great? So I'm very excited for y'all to jump alongside, be on this journey. Shout out to my amazing wife, Cheyenne, for helping me out, for being on the other side of this camera, making sure nothing blows up and nothing dies. And she's done a phenomenal job, and stepping into a production side that is not something that's her forte. It's not something that's my forte, but we're making do with what we got. But as I mentioned before, this is the Stay Zealous with Cam Jones, and it is an opportunity for all of us to live out what we're passionate about. You've probably heard the word jealous before. You may have not heard zealous before. You may have. And you probably for sure have heard the word zeal. So think of that, but zealous, jealous with a J. Anytime I wear any of a merch or shirt or anything like that, people are like, zealous? And I was like, that's not anywhere remotely close. It is zealous. And it is simply the meaning of passion or enthusiasm towards something. And it is my hope that as we navigate with this, creating a community together of working towards what we're passionate about, ultimately to step closer and closer to our purpose. I believe in purpose-driven passion, and I think we can find so many things closer to the purpose that God has placed on the inside of us by simply doing what we're passionate about, because I truly think that he's the one that placed it in there first and foremost. As long as we don't idolize it, as long as it doesn't get too far ahead of ourselves, but it stays in a good place and we live with humility, I truly believe that our passion can really drive us closer and closer to purpose. And that's essentially what I want this environment to be. What I've truly seen is, as I've progressing or have been progressing in my life in my 20s, I have found that it has truly been what I'm passionate about that has driven me up to this point and really wanting to put all this together. And I do want to share my story and share how I even got to this point, but I do want to give y'all the foundation of why I'm doing this in the first place, why I want to create an environment for every single one of us to be together, and why this is so important for me and important to me as well. Because to be able to create community, create an atmosphere, a space to see people that are my age, millennials and Gen Z, I find myself in the cusp. I'm literally in the cutoff year of millennial and Gen Z, and I have older siblings, I have younger sibling, and all of them I've seen Gen Z through and through, millennial through and through. I have found myself in both places, and I really just have a heart for the next generation, my current generation, to really strive for what they're passionate for, to live in a space where we get to be fully seen, fully heard, that we get to live in a safe space where we get to have conversation, where we get to be with one another, where we get to connect, and where we truly get to be in a space where we all can progress in this life together. I am nowhere close to perfection. I am nowhere close to figuring out this life. I'm doing the best I can. I am a father. I'm a husband. I am a son, a brother, a friend. I am a doctoral student. I'm trying to figure this thing out one step at a time. And as I have been figuring this thing out, the progression in my life has shown me that this is a huge component of what I want to do. And there has to be so many other people that have found themselves or are finding themselves in this particular spot. And so to even get to this point is a big thing, because 2024 was different. I've been through a lot of hard years in my life, But 2024 was mentally exhausting, spiritually exhausting, emotionally exhausting, physically exhausting, all of the above. It was everything. I've gotten rock'em sock'em robot. I've gotten roundhouse kick, sky uppercutted, punch to the face. Everything possible has happened. And I have felt really, really drained. So not only getting to the point of starting this thing and trying to get through the sickness, that's why I sound so nasally and I'm trying to get over whatever happened over this break. But at the same time, I have found myself in a position to where it is the journey, it is the progression of the journey that really builds character within you, that the fruit of the spirit, the things that God's placed on the inside of each and every one of us, no matter where, in what space you're watching from, whether you're a believer or not, that there's been things that have placed on the inside of us that truly the journey gets us to the place of going through all the ups and downs to get to a place where we really can see hindsight that we are much better than where we're at before. And that's been the essence of what I've really thought in the conception of what this really is going to be and how it's going to be. And I want to invite people, you particularly, alongside this journey with me as I discover more zeal, as I discover more passion, as I discover my purpose, as I discover why has Cam been placed on this earth? It's a question that every single one of us can ask ourselves, and it gets really difficult because life really do be lifing. And after a year like 2024, we had great music, cool things in pop culture, so many things happened in the church space, outside the church space, and the world in general. It has been a very difficult year to navigate, and it's made me question a lot of things, and it's made me really, really curious about a lot of things as well. So I'm trying to figure this thing out just as much as you are trying to figure this thing out as well. And let's just go ahead and do it together. Let's build a community and do it one step at a time. I'm in my living room. I am trying to get over the sickness. I am chilling in my house, figuring things out one step at a time. And so the cool thing is that as I'm in this space and I can see literally my kids' toys on the ground, I can see just the way everything has gone, the setup that we have and much more. I'm just extremely humbled by the position that we get to sit in right now. And also that this is going to be a really cool journey that all of us get to be a part of and do it together. So this space, as I said on the couch, is going to be a space where some of y'all, friends, family, so many people get to be a part of this together, and we get to have conversations. We get to sit in a safe space. I get to listen to some of y'all share y'all stories, talk to other people as they share their stories. I want to talk to you about my story as well. And we get to take really cool moments and change them to really cool realities that ultimately get to help people live in the full, authentic version of themselves and who they've been called to be. So it's going to be really cool. But before I really get into my story and really show how this actually became a conception and how I even got to this point, I do want to give you the foundation for Zealous within itself. So back in 2019, which seems like so long ago, the brand Zealous, which is where a lot of the merch and different things that I have came to fruition. But really the foundation of a lot is Zealous not only became just a word that I live by or a brand that is something that I want to see so many people wear and love doing fashion design, but it also became just a mantra, a word, something I just truly live by because I really want to live my life as passionate as I can for Jesus Christ and as passionate for what I believe he's placed on the inside of me and what I love to do. So I love communicating, love talking. Of course, whenever I'm not feeling so drained, but also I love connecting with people, being enthusiastic, and I really love helping people get to where they want to be at. And so in Romans, that I really thought I had highlighted, I've been reading Luke, but in the book of Romans in chapter 10 specifically, verse 2 is the foundational verse for what I believe the Holy Spirit's placed on my heart for Zealous, but it also is coupled with so many things that I believe God has placed and really shown me about what it truly means to be zealous. So it is Romans 10, and I'm going to read verses 1 through 5 to kind of just give an overview context. But verse 2 is the foundational verse. So starting in verse 1, dear brothers and sisters, the longing of my heart and my prayer to God is for the people of Israel to be saved. So this is Paul. I know what enthusiasm they have for God, but it is misdirected zeal. Verse 3, for they don't understand God's ways of making people right with himself. Refusing to accept God's way, they cling to their own way of getting right with God by trying to keep the law. For Christ has already accomplished the purpose for which the law was given. As a result, all who believe in him are made right with God. All who believe in Jesus Christ are made right with God. While we are still yet sinners, Jesus Christ died on the cross for every single one of us, and now we get to live free of the bondage of sin. But when you truly think about this verse, the issue was not that they didn't have zeal at all. They had passion. I truly think every single one of us in our life, we have a passion for something. But the misdirected part is a huge thing, because I think our zeal can be really misdirected in a lot of different ways. And for myself, I've been on this journey of trying to figure out where my zeal has been placed at. And it's been very difficult because I've tried countless times trying to figure out where is Cam's zeal placed at. And truly where I've gotten to this point in my life is I've put my passion fully into a relationship with Jesus Christ and my belief in him. And through that, I've been able to lean more in what I love to do. And that's what's really brought me to the foundation of this. So I want to say thank you to every single person, no matter where you're watching from, whether it's Apple, Spotify, whether you're watching on YouTube, whether you're watching it or you're just listening to it, wherever you're watching from, I want to say thank you so much. Because as I've been on this journey of trying to get to this point of navigating what God's placed on the inside of me, I have now found myself at this point in my life to where it truly is building a community of other people that are passionate about the same thing and passionate about something in their life. And I want this space to be a space where we can be open, honest, transparent. We can connect with one another. We can chat with one another and really just be in a place where we're all progressing in our life together. But as I mentioned, it really didn't just happen over time. It took a very long time to get to this point. As I've grown up in my life, I was a military kid that really grew up in church. No matter where my family moved, no matter where we were at, finding a church home and finding a church space was super important. When I'm talking about church, I'm talking about like church. Like we were involved in youth board, the gospel choir. We were involved in everything youth ministry related, vacation Bible school. I mimed my sister's praise dance. Like there were so many things we were involved in. And then when you just take into account church in general, I'm used to 8:30 service, Sunday school. After Sunday school, we were staying for the 11 o'clock service. And if I could put a tier list of what it is to be involved in church, I would fit in A tier. My parents were deacons, super involved in church, did a lot of different things. And as a result, we were extremely involved in church in a lot of different ways. And so I wouldn't put myself as S tier because that is safe for the PKs or pastors' kids. But I was extremely involved in church in a lot of different ways in my life. And as a result, being there so long, I really knew I should have been there. And that's really changed the trajectory from a life of getting to this point. And then, of course, you add the other side of being a military kid and moving around so much. The easiest way I can put it of everywhere I've lived, I was born in Germany, in every deep South state from Georgia, Florida, all the way down to Texas. That's where I've lived in all of those states in some way, shape, or form, basically. So living life in that way has really been a huge foundation for myself as a human being. And it's really changed how I view life. And I really say a lot of that started once I moved to Florida. And going from Texas, I live in the Houston area currently, but I was in Central Texas before I moved to Florida. And moving from Texas to Florida is absolutely insane. It is such a huge, there's some ice in my water. It is such a huge culture shock. It is so different. The people are different, the ethnicities, the culture in general, the weather, the food, everything is so different. And we made this move and I really didn't want to go. But when you are a military kid, you really don't get a choice. So you just got to make the most of where you're going or you don't. That's basically what you get. You get two choices. So when I got to Florida, I really did not make the most of when I was there. And it was very difficult, probably all the way up until I started playing sports. I was on the basketball team. I was running track. And that's where I met a lot of my friends. And that's where a lot of the journey really started and where it really started to go in. And that's where I really started to see I really enjoy Florida. I really love this place, and I'm starting to grow fond of it. And that's when you usually get the news, when you start getting fond to a place, at least for myself, where it's like, hey, it's time to move. And for myself, that's essentially what it was. We got to Florida, got acquainted, and then I'm getting ready for high school and all these things. And then it was time to transition. So my dad finished out, retired from the military, and we get to move back from Texas. And even though I was glad to move back to Texas, it was a whole nother adjustment period of meeting new people, getting involved with people in high school. And the easiest way I can truly describe myself is I am a huge includer. I love making sure people are included. And mostly it's because I never wanted to feel excluded in any way, shape, or form. And so knowing that's been a huge foundation for myself and who I am as a person, when I moved back to the Houston area, I was able to find myself in a position where I get to start off on a clean slate, but I still dealt with a lot of insecurity and I struggle with a lot of confidence in myself because I'm in a new place and I know I'm not going to move, but what if we do again? And that was the big thing all throughout high school. And it wasn't until my senior year where I finally got to make a choice for myself, or what I felt I got to make a choice for myself going to my senior year. Getting a job, finishing out sports, transitioning into college was a huge thing. And I got invited for one of my close friends in to visit Sam Houston. And that's where everything really took off. And growing up in church, I had this perception that whenever you go to college, you basically get a choice. You get two choices. Choice number one is you get to go off the deep end, choose what you want to do, and that's what happens. Choice number two is that you keep your foundation of your whole life, and that's it. And those are your two choices. And so your boy decided to choose option one, which was go off the deep end, or soar, I say. So when I got to school, I was placed in this group chat with a lot of other students just to kind of connect and meet people. And again, since I'm a big includer, I want everyone to be involved, and I want to be involved with everyone, and I want to be a part because I never want to feel left out. So we're going to say Bill because I haven't talked to this specific person in a long time. So he's going to be Bill for this story. So Bill invited the whole group chat to a party, and nobody responded. And the included that I am, and knowing that my roommate Elijah was not there, I was like, I'm gonna pull up, I'm gonna go. So I said, hey bro, let's do it, let's run it, let's go to this thing together. So he said, bet, we are gonna pick you up soon. And I was like, who is we? So flash forward, I'm outside waiting, and this huge Dodge Ram, this blue Dodge Ram pulls up. You could probably hear it a mile away. It was an extremely loud truck. You hear it all the way down the street. They get in. Scott rolls down the window. They're like, hey, are you Cam? What's up? Lower my voice. I can do that. I probably should blow my nose, honestly. But it is what it is. I'll make it through. I'll make it last, but I do need to get a water break. This sickness is really doing a toll on me one step at a time, but I got to lower my voice because my daughter is asleep and I know she can hear my voice through this wall. But we are in a position where this truck pulls up and they're like, hey, are you Cam? And I'm like, yes. And he said, bet, hop in. Dude gets out the passenger seat. Bill's in the car. There's about 5 or 6 people in the bed of the truck. There is 4 or 5 people in the truck, minus now the guy who was in the passenger seat. I get in and I'm just like, what is going on? And they say, hey, we're going to the party. Let's pull up. You ready to go? And I'm like, awesome. So we get to this house. There's people on the roof. I kid you not. There's people running around, people dancing. There's a lot going on in this little 3-bedroom house. And once we're there, there's people bringing in drinks. And I'm like, in my mind, and it may not seem like that big of a deal, but I did grow up as like the goody two-shoe, as my siblings would definitely say. I didn't want to do anything wrong. I just wanted to stay in my lane, do what I do. And because I'm on this island where I have a sister that's 4.5 years older than me, and a sister that's 4 years younger than me, I get this unique position as a middle child, which is a great spot to be, of knowing what not to do and doing it well, because you see your siblings, if they do make a mistake, you get to not make that mistake. So I wanted to do everything right. And at this point, I am like I probably made the wrong decision trying to come to this party, and I probably should have just stayed home and played 2K, and that was it. So I get there, we get inside, and ironically enough, the guys who brought drinks, they're leaving. And so I'm really confused, and we go inside, and people are dancing, having a good time. There's plenty of food, and I'm like, what is this? So Kevin, who's the one who had the truck, and a guy named Preston, they're talking to me, asking questions about who I am, where I'm from, and all these different things, and I ask them, like, what is this party? And essentially what they told me is that this is a party for a ministry, that the whole point is to help people find community, and most importantly is to make sure they don't make essentially decisions like I wanted to make. And when I tell you my mind was blown, this was the moment in my life. And as it doesn't seem this astronomical for myself and how I think, this was the moment where I realized that God never wanted me to steer off the path in my life. I made a decision where I finally got to, in my ego and what I wanted to do, is I made a decision to pick what I wanted to do selfishly, away from what God wanted me to do, away from everything else that I known. Didn't want to go into ministry, just wanted to live life in college, get my degree, keep it moving, and just figure out life. And the fact that making an attempt to go to this thing and make a decision, it was like, all right, Cam, slide yourself back on track, on path. You're not going to get that far away from me. And it was that first moment in my life, even though I grew up in church, where I was like, I want to have a relationship with Jesus Christ. I want to live my life for God. And I trust that he will always guide me back. No matter how far I go and no matter where I go, there will always be a place to run up in his arms and just be loved and hugged. And that was such a pivotal moment. And that's where I really saw my whole life just drastically transform, where in this ministry, I got to go to conferences where I met my wife and the friend group that we're in. I got to be part of small group. I got to lead in small group. I got to go to conferences, go to mission trips. I really just saw life transform. But in that same time frame in college, as I'm navigating and just really falling in love with just the aspect communities of being involved in ministry, I'm also having a struggle eternally of what I want to do. I went to school for kinesiology, wanted to be an orthopedic surgeon, transitioned into occupational therapy, transitioned into coaching, transitioned to higher education as I graduated. It was a multitude of things. But what I've realized is that even though the journey led a lot of different things, I've had this eternal struggle of truly figuring out what I just love to do. And I just did everything. And partially because of moving around so much, my parents tried to do the best they could. And they did a phenomenal job at making sure we enjoyed every area that we went to. So whether it was sports, AAU basketball, whether it was club, anything, whether it was events, dancing, whatever extracurricular it was, they did the best to make sure we stayed involved with it, to make sure we can enjoy where we went. And as amazing as that sound, it created this mental capacity for myself of what do I truly love to do? So as I've had plenty of friends that I know that can easily say, hey, I'm a teacher and I love being a teacher. Hey, I do coaching because I love coaching. Hey, I enjoy doing sales because I love doing sales and connect with people in this way. I've had this struggle of really being like, yeah, I really want to do blank. And this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. And not that we all have to have it, because I think the journey within itself is so cool because you get to see where everything goes and how it happens. But I've never really felt like this is the one thing that I've wanted to do. I'm like, can I just do a bunch of different things and that bring me fulfillment? And that's been the difficulty while I was in school mentally, as well as enjoying the process of ministry and connecting with people. So as I progress, I have found myself since college understanding that Cam has enjoyed and done a lot of things. But at the same time, when I started creating Zealous, really the foundation for it, where after I graduated, was truly to build a space where we can just love what we love and just do it and strive for purpose for God. So if you want to be a teacher, if you are in law enforcement, if you are a pastor in ministry, if you're a director, creative director, whatever you do, I think and believe that if we are striving for zeal towards Christ and it's not misdirected based on just a knowing, but an actual knowing and have a relationship with him, you will see how your passion aligns, because God gives us the desires of our heart according to his will, not according to ours. And I think if we follow him, everything aligns up perfectly. And throughout my life, I truly felt like all the jobs that I did really didn't bring the fulfillment. And where I truly felt the most fulfillment is when I stepped into vocational ministry after I graduated. I got to do a job as an admissions counselor. I got to work at Chick-fil-A, some other places. But I really then stepped into vocational ministry. And that's where everything, I was like, this is what I want to do. I want to pastor, lead, shepherd people. This is it. I want to do this for the rest of my life. Until about 2022, transitioning into that year where the church that I was working for, we had a scandal that happened with our senior leader. And as a result, it shifted the core for my mindset when it came to everything. I'm finishing out a degree in my master's in org leadership. I am trying to really take steps forward to really lead and pastor people well. And my whole core is shook from the moment that I see a leader that I looked up to fall into a scandal and create a moral failure. And from that point, my mindset completely shifted. And everything that I thought was like, oh, passion, I'm doing it, I'm living out Zealous, literally all got shook in 2 moments. And the past 2 years have been me trying to figure out, again, what am I passionate about? Is it truly vocational ministry? What does this all look like? Or is it something completely different? Which then leads me to this space where now, even after my master's, I'm now a doctoral student, learning about pastoral theology, learning what it means to care for people, so I can care for y'all, care for friends around me, care for family, care for myself, extremely well, what it means to live in contextualization of culture, and building all that out. And my perspective has shifted when it comes to church, when it comes to people, when it comes to connecting, when it connects to living in culture. And all of these things have led me up to this space where I'm not working vocational ministry right now, but I have a heart for the church. I have a heart for people, and I want to see every single person win and live the most authentic life they possibly can live. And through the course of my degree, through the course of everything I do, I believe we all have a purpose, and our passion really helps us drive closer and closer to purpose. And so out of all the things that I've done, what I've truly realized over the course of all these years, and we're going to go so much more in depth through episodes, through the stories, through the different seasons of my life and much more. But in this overview and this essential gist of my whole life story, what I've realized and what I've figured out is that my purpose is, of course, to live for God and go out and make disciples and be around people, building community, and just love people extremely well, and doing that by making disciples and baptizing them in the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, as the Great Commission tells us to do. But as I do that, and as I figure out why Cam's been placed here, and the question I have to question myself, or I have a lot and journal a lot and talk to my wife and mentors and family about, is that I really want to see every single one of you, the people around me, the people I lead currently now, the people I lead in church, the people that are around me in every way, shape, or form. What my heart is to see other people win and live out what they love to do, and do it passionately, and do it because God has placed it inside of them. So if you want to be a baker, and in this community, I get to see you live out your life and be the best baker and start a business and connect with people and be a catalyst and give back to the community and pray for people and do all that God has called you to do, and you get to do it by being a baker, I feel so fulfilled. So being able to do a lot of different things and connect with a lot of people has helped me up to this point, because I've been able to see other people win and get closer to their own purpose. And as a result, be able to be in a space where I can be like, hey, how can I help you with that? And that's where so much fulfillment for myself has come in. And that's where it's all gone. So I'm extremely excited for what everything that this podcast is going to be, the episodes to come, the people that are going to be a part, the journey that we're going to be on together, the progression that we're going to see with the equipment, things that we do, but also the progression we're going to see as a community as this grows. I just can't be more proud and more excited for all that's to come. And so that's essentially the gist of why I'm doing this. And it's my hope that every person that comes on here, every person that listens to this, that one, you know that I'm extremely grateful and appreciative of just you taking time to listen to this thing. I know that it could be a lot. You're probably listening to my nasally voice. There's probably a lot of different things, and there's other things that you could be doing during this time. But just even the few moments that you are listening to this, the few moments you're taking time to watch this and just be a part of this, I'm just eternally, eternally grateful. It is my hope and prayer that every single person that watches this and gets to listen to this is known that they are seen, they are known, and they have a space that they can be together. And I want to create more and more spaces like this for people to where really can just sit, have conversation, and be open about everything we talk about. So I'm excited to see what's to come. I'm excited to see what episodes. If you have any type of topics you want to talk about, comment them. Let me know. Shoot over to the page. Stay _ zealous. Stay zealous. Our YouTube page, our Instagram, all these different things. Let me know. Literally, let me know what you want to talk about, what topics. I'm excited for this journey and what's to come. I'm just in awe. I'm just really in awe that this point is actually happening. That I'm taking a step in faith like Peter did when he took a step out the water onto the boat. Because truly, y'all, like, it's been a long time coming. It has been a good old year of trying to get this thing started, of my wife asking me and making sure I'm in the right space, of talking to my mentor, and really finding my own voice. So with all the things that I'm doing, I just want to be able to create community, have conversation, and do it the best way I possibly can. So that's essentially what we're doing. I'm excited for all that's to come and all that's to be. Again, please share this. Please like this. Jump on the bandwagon for it, and let's run this thing together. And let's really make change, knowing that the harvest is plentiful, but the laborers are few. Let us grow together to be laborers that, in the context of wherever you're coming from, no matter if it is the Houston area, no matter if it is in Michigan, no matter if it is in Wyoming or Florida or Oregon or Europe or Asia or wherever you're watching from, or however you found this or stumbled upon this, that no matter where you're at, that you have an impact. There's people that need to hear your story. There's people that need to see you, and everything that you do out of the vulnerability that is a gift that you bring, and out of the transparency that you bring, your gift that you've been given, the stories that you went through, the things that you went through uniquely that you've been created to do, are going to bring out the best in people around you that need to hear your story. So live for zeal. Live the best way you can. Let's make sure it's not misdirected, but that is leaned on the same thing. And I believe all that is through our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. And through that, I want to see every single one of us win. So this podcast is a direct reflection of who I am as a person, and I'm excited to see what's going to come out of it. So again, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for jumping on. Please like, please subscribe, please share, jump on and do what we do. And even if you don't, just thank you so much for watching. So I appreciate every single one of y'all for jumping on this journey with me. Can't wait to see you in the next one. Let me know what you think. And yeah, it's going to be good. Excited to see what's going to happen. But love y'all. Y'all are amazing. Go out, live your full, authentic self, and always, always, always stay zealous. Love you guys. Bye.